Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. October is Blindness Awareness Month. So since October is Blindness Awareness Month, I wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with visual impairment. Okay, so the name of the disease that I have is called Stargardt disease. And if you're not familiar with it, it is a form of macular degeneration and it affects the central vision. So basically, I'll never go fully blackout blind. However, all of my central vision is what is affected. So I still have peripheral vision, but central vision is like your main source of what you use to see. I'm very thankful that it isn't something that I won't go completely blind from. So in the back of the eye, you can see the blind spots that I have. And when I'm looking, I don't actually see blind spots in my vision. I've seen other pictures of people with progressed, like farther than mine, Stargardt disease, and they show like black spots, but I don't actually see those. The way it was explained to me was that your brain fills in those areas of what you're not seeing. Like that really only becomes super aware to me when I'm looking at something and I try to focus on something and all of a sudden it's not there and it like moves, like specifically words. If I'm kind of zoning out at somebody's face, like maybe their nose and the center part of their face, so their details of their face aren't there. As I'm closer, like no problem, I can see people. So it really does affect my ability to recognize people. And I'm not a shy person for the most part. Like I've always been very outgoing, a very outgoing child. Like I love making friends and talking to people. And if I like knew who somebody was, I would be very outgoing and first person to say, hi, how you doing? My disease does make me a little bit more shy just because I never know if that's the person. If I'm expecting them in an area, like I can probably pick up people a little bit better. But I'm still a little bit nervous a lot of the times to like, is that them? Like I'll, like if my husband's there, it's really great. I'll be like, hey, is that so-and-so? And he'll tell me yes or no, or sometimes I don't know, but I still am kind of nervous, like, oh, what if I go up and say hi to the wrong person? Which I have done many times, and you know, it is really embarrassing, but I never really get into it and be like, oh, well, I'm blind, so I can't really see, or whatever, you know, I just like play it off and I'm like, oh, you look familiar. So the disease is kind of tricky because there's so many things that I'm still very like easily capable of doing. Like for the most part, I'm not tripping all over my feet. I walk through this world functioning very much like you would see a normal person, a visually capable person functioning. And so a lot of times, maybe I might seem a little quirky or people wouldn't know. Everyone's really surprised usually when they find out that I have a visual disability. So I've also developed some like weird social things that I do just to like not be awkward, which if you're visually impaired, you absolutely do not have to do this. Like honestly, like to me, I question myself and I'm like, why do you even do that? Like just be yourself, who cares? Like you don't owe anybody any explanation, or you don't have to do that to just fit in or whatever. But I've always kind of done these things, and I'll kind of get into that, but I was diagnosed at such a young age. I was 14 years old, so I was new into high school, and you're really trying to fit in and just be like a normal kid. And so I think that's a lot where it developed. A lot of times when I go to a restaurant, I look up the menu beforehand. I definitely want to see what's on the menu. I can check it over on my phone online, like a lot easier. I can zoom into it. So many menus I can't even read. So if I'm by myself, what I do is I'll take a picture with my cell phone and then I like pinch zoom and zoom into it. So a lot of times like waitresses will come up and you think I'm ready because I'm just playing on my phone, and I'm like, oh no, just give me a few minutes. But if I'm at a dinner table with everybody and everyone's looking at the menu, I still look at the menu and I like flip through the menu sometimes. Like, and then I'll kind of lean over to my husband. I'm like, I can't read any of this. Like, why am I looking at it? And then we kind of laugh about it, but it's like, do I stare at everyone else looking at their menus? Do I look at my phone? Is that rude? Like, there's just so many things like I just kind of do. Definitely don't recommend that you do those. It's just one of the quirky things that I do that I find are pretty interesting. Another thing that I do is like I definitely cannot recognize people very well. Like, and one of the big things is I can never tell when people are looking at me. So I don't want to look at other people in case they're looking at me, and then it takes me a long time until we get really close to like recognize that person. So a lot of times I don't make eye contact with people, or I'll look down, or just kind of seem preoccupied. I think that I appear to be a little bit more airheaded and just like la-di-da, like what's going on, not really paying attention to what's going on around me. I consider myself to be incredibly positive about this disease. There's so many things, like it sounds weird to hear like, why would I be thankful for an eye disease? There are so many things. So I really am very positive about it, but I definitely think it's important to talk about some of the struggles and some of the things that are more difficult for me, that I like, just daily things that I face like through life that just makes it a little bit more difficult, that I think it's really hard for people to understand. One thing being that, like, back to like the reading, where I can't really read things very easily, like if at all. So if it's in big print, I can sometimes, and it takes me a while to kind of focus on it, because again, like with the blind spot, it'll just be like, it almost looks like it's like moving around the page as I'm like shifting, like adjusting my focus. So even reading like directions on the back of like my frozen vegetables, like how long does this go into the microwave? Hold on, like I take a picture of it and then zoom into it. So it's not that irritating. I mean, that's just what I've gotten used to, but every simple like task, every time I need to do something like that, I get a piece of mail or something in a paper that I gotta read, I gotta take a picture, zoom in, and then be looking at it and then kind of shuffling back and forth with it. So it takes like, I would say double the amount of time to do even simple tasks. Another thing kind of along the timeline is that even though I have kind of clocks all over the house, just so that when I'm in any position, I'll be close enough to a clock where I can see it. But there's a lot of times where I will look at the clock and think, oh, it said 12 o'clock, but it said 1 o'clock, or, you know, vice versa, or whatever. It's something where I'm missing numbers. I can be late for things because of that. And a lot of times, like, how do you explain that? Like, I really did see that, but you know, it kind of sounds like a really lame excuse, like, oh, I looked at the clock and I thought I saw this, but it's real. It's very real. That's happened. So out in public, a big fear I kind of talked about is like running into people that I know out and about and like just blowing them off. Close friends know me, like they would never, they're the types of people that are waving their arms and embarrassing the heck out of both of us, and they're like, hey, it's me. But new relationships, people that, you know, I have professional relationships or whatever, you know, it's harder for them to understand, like, hey, I just met this girl at the gym, we had this amazing talk, she seemed really nice, and then the next day, you know, we're at the gym and she just blew me off, you know? And so then it's like, wow, what did I do wrong? Like, I can't even count like how many times somebody has come up to me and asked, oh man, are you mad at me? Like, did I do something? And that just drives me crazy. Not because I'm mad at them, but because like I don't have like the ability right away to like show people like I'm not angry at you. It's just like, you know, there's explanations that need to go into it because people don't fully like understand the situation. And that's like, I have to kind of think about like the amount of people that would actually come up to me and ask like, are you mad at me? Like, I can't imagine how many people I've blown off or offended or whatever that don't ever ask me, you know? So I kind of try for the most part to just like, if it's going to be somebody I know I'm probably going to see again, like, hey, just want to let you know this is the situation, this is what I live with, so I just want you to know that. You definitely don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't have to explain yourself. Like, you can just be you and live your life, and, you know, people shouldn't make those judgments. What's important to me is that people know that I really care and like I want to make friends, and I would never intentionally blow anybody off or be rude to them or anything like that. So that's important to me. So that's why I feel that justifies why I want to explain it. Not that I necessarily feel like I should or need to or anything like that, but you know, if that's something that's really important to you and you feel like that's kind of affecting your relationships, if you are somebody who has Stargardt, or any other visual impairment or anything that could be even related to this at all. Whatever makes you feel good and like what you feel like you should explain, like that's what you should do. I did a video a couple years ago kind of talking about living legally blind, and I did it with Impossible Films, and that turned out so crazy. Like I got so much feedback from it, so much love, and connected with so many people, and I did not expect that at all. It was incredible, but in that I kind of talked about this experience, and this one to this day is just like it is such a challenge, is public restrooms, because I never know which one. First of all, where are they? Because they're usually like hidden doors, like in walls somewhere. Like, I don't know, some places have big signs, but even so, like, which one is the one I'm supposed to go into? Like, the dress or the legs? But like when I'm far away, I cannot tell, and it's usually like one is this way and one is very obviously this way. So if I start walking toward that, like, I've had so many awkward interactions. It's actually kind of funny. I laugh at myself a ton about it, where I've come very close to being in the men's room, but I have so many stories that I laugh at, like, that are just hilarious, that I think somebody's behind me and it's like a fan, or mannequins in stores scaring me. All right, so that brings me to my last point that I really, really want to touch on. Like, I am thankful for my disease for many reasons, and one of them is the perspective that it has given me. I have done so many things where I know nobody's thinking, I think that, what if that girl is blind? Like, what if she has this going on in her? What if she's going blind, she can't see, or she didn't know that was me, or she misread this, or she missed my text or message or something. Like, what if she just couldn't see it because of her visual disability? Nobody's really thinking that. And there are so many of those what if situations out there where we have no idea what's going on in people's lives. So the perspective that I take all the time is really giving people the benefit of the doubt. And it is just ingrained in me, because I hope that people will give me the benefit of the doubt, be patient with people, and to understand, like, it doesn't even have to be a disease. It could be that they just broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, or, you know, they just lost a loved one, a pet, like, lost their job. Like, it could just be anything, like so much stress on their plate, like something that somebody's dealing with and they're not really aware of how their actions are affecting you, or that they didn't pay attention to you, or just, you know, whatever. Just a lot of the times, a lot of things that are going on have nothing to do with us. This disease has given me the opportunity to really share the message of just giving people the benefit of the doubt, showing a lot of love to people, just being understanding of the situations that they're in, and yeah, just in general being kind, because we never know what people are dealing with. So I hope that this video helped you in some way, whether you learned a little bit more about people with visual impairments, or, you know, you just got a little motivation. But either way, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to come hang out with me again, please hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment, let me know your situations. If you have Stargardt disease, I would love to hear from you. Check in the description box. I'm going to have a link to the Foundation Fighting Blindness, which has a ton of information on blindness awareness and what you can do to help. And I also have a link to this company, the Two Blind Brothers. They are two blind brothers that have Stargardt disease, and they sell clothes and jewelry that help raise money for the cure for the disease that I personally have. So if you want to shop there and help support and get some really awesome high quality things too, you can definitely do that. All right guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you guys in the next video.